Hello there. It's been a while, but who cares? So I'm here today, and I just got done with my morning course, and the reason I haven't been here for a while is because I've been really focusing on what really matters. And if you've talked to me for any more than 5 minutes ever in my life, then you'll probably hear me say something in the theme of some productivity or something whatever. So I've been actively adding time to my life by subtracting the things that don't matter. And one of the things that I've learned in the last several weeks is that a lot of the stuff that I do has absolutely no impact on the happiness level that I'm trying to attain. And so I am not obsessed with this concept of happiness. I don't believe that we were designed for happiness. I believe that we were designed to reproduce, and that's basically our base function is reproducing and you know traveling around and eating. And I think that that's kind of where we came from. Now, it is my belief that our bodies are 200,000 years old plus, and so we have a lot of basic things that we do, and just basic physiological things and basic mental things that we are just hardwired for. Now, all these things that we have in our life that are recent, like social media, the internet, cell phones. These are all brand new, and I would say that they're kind of a shock to our system. We don't really know how to process these things, and we have a very difficult time managing and negotiating in our own minds how to use these tools that we've created. So our technology has far surpassed our ability to understand or effectively use it, in my opinion. Is that Are we going to get to Mars in my lifetime? Maybe, but we've gone so fast that we have gotten to this kind of constant state of distraction, and I don't believe that that is a healthy state, at least not for me, and I certainly don't want it for my kid. I don't want my kid to be distracted his whole life, and so that will be his choice when he's 18. But for me, for right now, I've gone over the deep end, way over the top um, on trying to reduce as many distractions as possible. And for a while, they're making this video as one of them. I do this video kind of more for me than for you, quite honestly. I hope you get some value and some benefit out of it. But it is my belief that we can return to a state of productivity and happiness, more of a state of happiness, if we just eliminate some of these things away from our minute to minute life. Like when I was growing up, we had a cell phone. We had phones on a table with a cord attached to it, that was attached to a base that you had to hang up the phone, and then that plugged into a wall, and so you couldn't move anywhere. I remember it was a big deal. We got a second line in my house. I think it was for my sister, and it was a big deal. And we had to get a second phone number, and that had to be throttled. Like there was no phone calls after 9 in my house. Um, but what that meant was that when we were not in the house, we were unavailable. Now I know that that sounds unimaginable to people right now, but I've been trying to return to that, not necessarily the being tethered to the house thing, but being very aggressive and very specific about when and where I use my cell phone, what is allowed to come through. So I went through all my settings, and I got like absolutely wild on the apps I can get through. I deleted everything that I don't use, and there are like 5 or 6 people in my life that can get through my filters at any given time. My phone turns off by itself at 9 o'clock. My alarm tells me it's time to go to bed at 8, and I wake up at 4, and my phone is still basically a brick until about 9 o'clock in the morning. So this is done with my laptop, but otherwise my cell phone is not what it was even a couple weeks ago. And that is for a very specific reason. And so, like when I publish things on social media, because I find value in it for myself, and hopefully you find value in it, I typically syndicate it myself and bulk process a lot of the things. So I have a virtual assistant that handles a couple things, and then I'll make like a TikTok that goes to all channels. But once I send it out, I don't edit it, and I don't respond to the comments. Sorry. um, and it doesn't really matter to me, because I'm ruthless about protecting my time, and more than my time is my bandwidth. and my ability to actually sit there and focus on something. So what we've done is we've sacrificed our ability to focus on hard things, and we're constantly switching, which is exhausting. And there's something called cognitive residue, where you are switching between things all the time, and there's a little bit of left over in your mind of thinking about something that you were doing before. Like, did I finish it? Is it good enough? Did somebody read it? I should check to see if I got a response for that. And that's all cognitive residue, and that kind of builds up and accumulates in your mind, and causes stress. It causes a very low level of stress, and that kind of stress accumulates and combines to do things that are very bad for you. Like, stress is bad. Stress causes cancer. Like, stress is like very bad for you. And so our bodies were not designed for that kind of stress. And so we used to have this we have a fight or flight mechanism. Like, I think it's our amygdala. And what happens is when we see something rustling in the bushes, we're like, oh shit, is that a bear? Is that a snake? Is that going to kill me? And then you book it out of there and you get out of there. And that is probably the highest single state of stress you're going to have in any single day. The other source of stress for our bodies would be like, where is our next meal going to come from, or where's food going to come from? And so we aren't used to these constant micro stresses of the withdrawal of dopamine that we constantly get. And so an exercise that I did today, which I found very helpful, I was kind of surprised at how interesting it was. And this is separate from my meditation, separate from journaling, separate. I've been tracking my memories too, by the way. That's a whole other thing. But I literally stared at a wall for 20 minutes today, and staring at a wall without looking at my phone, without checking my email, without doing all the things that I would normally do if I had just a moment of a pause between a task or two, would be like check my phone, scroll the internet, find something like that. And so I'm just like, nope, can't do it, because it added friction in between. I've been adding friction in between the things that I don't want to do and making it easier to do the things that I do want to do. So for instance, if you want to make things easier to go running, for instance, then you put your socks inside of your shoes and put your shorts on top of your shoes, and you put your shirt that you want to wear on top of your shorts, and you put those by the door. And so that way, all you have to do is wake up, put on the clothes, and go. So that eliminates the friction of having to look for your socks, deciding what you're going to wear, looking for your left shoe, finding all this stuff. And so that's an example of reducing friction to do something that you want to do. Now, an example of increasing friction for something that you don't want to do is like, you hide the liquor in your closet, or you don't keep alcohol in the house, or you don't keep cash, so you can't buy cash only things. There's a million examples of ways to do that, but for our purposes today, for the concept of addition by subtraction, the one thing that I would recommend doing is that you, first of all, put your phone in do not disturb all the time, and then be in charge of when you want to check messages. Because otherwise, if you become available constantly and unlimitedly, unlimited, that's not even a word, but whatever. If you're like constantly in a state of unlimited availability, then you will be constantly managed by other people, and that's not a very healthy place to be in. Like, you need to be managing yourself and managing your own time and deciding for yourself what is important, what is not important. Because if you don't establish your own priorities, then other people will prioritize. Then other people will, and so that's the kind of the world that I got kind of really, really tired of. And just an immediate effect of this is that I've read a couple books in the last couple weeks. Not crazy long books, but one of them was pretty hard. And one of the ones that if you can sit there and stare at a wall for 20 minutes without getting distracted or breaking the trance that you get into, then what's to stop you from covering a pretty difficult topic in a book, like in a textbook, for instance. So that's the kind of state that I want to get into, as far as like the Zen monk ability to focus on something that's really dense and difficult, because that will help me get out of my comfort zone, which will help me grow to where I want to be, and accomplish the things that I want to accomplish. Also, if you've spent more than 5 minutes with me, then you know that I constantly have ideas, and I'm constantly starting things, starting projects. And so like another part of my thing was just taking an inventory of all the projects that I'm involved in, all the things that I wanted to do, and just being like, all right, it's time to say no to these things. Like I can't just do all the things that I want to do. So I've kind of broke it down to, my day job is very exciting and interesting to me. So I don't have any problem prioritizing those kind of things. But after 5 o'clock, when I'm tired, and when I've been making decisions all day, or been writing emails all day, then that's when I have to decide, like, do I have the energy and the bandwidth to pursue this project, and really, should I? Is this more important than, say, spending time with my kid, or doing, or not working? As I think it was Mozart who said that the rests were just as important as the notes. And such is true in life, where if you're not giving yourself a time of from active recovery and decompressing from the things from the work that you're producing, then your work product will suffer. So addition by subtraction is a concept that I just absolutely love, and I take it to the nth degree. If you notice my house, like, I don't have a lot of stuff, because I don't want to have a lot of stuff to manage. I don't want to have a lot of stuff to be responsible for, because I want to be able to have unlimited, undivided attention to my kid, to my health, and the things that are actually important. I don't want a bunch of shit that I have to manage. So, anyways, that's all I got for you today. Good to see you again, and I will see you next time.